Hello dear students, welcome to this program, and in today's program we shall be discussing about role of curriculum development. The objectives pertaining to today's topic are to know the meaning of curriculum, know the rationale for curriculum development, to know about factors influencing curriculum development, and to understand the process of curriculum development. Let us briefly discuss what's curriculum. Dear students, ever since the term curriculum was added to educators' vocabularies, it has seemed to convey many things to many people. To some, curriculum has denoted a specific course, while to others it has meant the entire educational environment. Whereas perceptions of the term may vary, it must be recognized that curriculum encompasses more than a simple definition. Curriculum is a key element in the educational process. Its scope is extremely broad and it touches virtually everyone who is involved with teaching and learning. Curriculum may be perceived as being rather global in nature and representing a broad range of educational activities and experiences. Thus, curriculum may be defined as the sum of the learning activities and experiences that a student has under the auspices or direction of the school. Acceptance of this generic definition commits the curriculum developer to accept two additional supporting concepts. First, the central focus of the curriculum is the student. In fact, one may interpret this to mean each student has his or her own curriculum. This interpretation is a sound concept since students often select courses, experiences, and non-credit activities that align with their unique personal needs and aspirations. This fact might be pointed out by asking, how often can it be found that two students have had exactly the same set of educational experiences? A rationale for curriculum development. Students, let us see what is the rationale. The uniqueness of the career and technical curriculum raises a critical question. What is the basic direction that curriculum development in career and technical education should take? History tells us that traditionally, curricula have been developed in a somewhat haphazard manner, with little consideration given to the impact of the development process. Another point is that a career and technical curriculum soon becomes outdated when steps are not taken to keep it from remaining static. Finally, it must be recognized that the career and technical curriculum thrives on relevance. The extent to which a curriculum assists students to enter and succeed in the work world spells out success. As curriculum is being developed, the career and technical educator is obligated to deal with these concerns in such a way that quality is built into the finished product or graduate. Any curriculum that is not developed systematically or that becomes static or irrelevant will soon have an adverse effect on all who come in contact with it. In order to avoid this difficulty, curriculum developers must give consideration to the basic character of the curriculum and build in those factors that contribute to its quality. Students, let us see what are the various factors that determine curriculum development. The factors which determine or to be considered while developing curriculum are: number first, data-based. The contemporary career and technical curriculum cannot function properly unless it is data-based. Decisions about whether or not to offer a curriculum need to be found upon appropriate school and community related data. Curriculum content decisions should be made after a variety of data, such as student characteristics and the nature of the occupation being prepared for, have been gathered and examined. The quality of curriculum materials is determined after data have been obtained from instructors and students who use them. Number second, dynamic. It might be said that a static curriculum is a dying curriculum. Just as education is in a dynamic state, its curriculum must likewise be dynamic. Administrators, curriculum developers, and instructors must constantly examine the curriculum in terms of what it is doing and how well it meets students' needs. Provision must be made for curricular revisions, particularly those modifications that are tangible, improvements and not just change for the sake of change. Now, number third, explicit outcomes. Not only must the contemporary curriculum be responsive to the world of work, it must also be able to communicate this responsiveness to administrators, teachers, students, parents, and employers. Broadly stated goals are an important part of any curriculum. However, these goals are only valid to the extent that they can be communicated in a more explicit manner. Although it is recognized that we cannot state all curricular outcomes in specific measurable terms, many of these outcomes may be written down in such a manner that the broad curricular goals are made more quantifiable. To the extent that outcomes are explicit, we will be able to tell whether students achieve them and how the outcomes relate to a particular occupation or field. Now, number 4, fully articulated. Although courses and other educational activities contribute to the quality of a curriculum, the way that they are arranged in relation to each other makes the difference between experiences that are merely satisfactory and experiences that are superior. Curriculum articulation may involve the resolution of content conflicts across different areas of development of a logical instructional flow from one year to the next. Articulation might extend to determining the ways co-curricular activities such as student, career, and technical organizations lend support to the rest of the curriculum, or deciding which mathematics concepts should be taught as a prerequisite and or within a particular technical course. It may include the articulation of curriculum content between career and technical and general education courses. Now, next, realistic. The curriculum cannot operate in a vacuum. If students are to be prepared properly for employment, the curricular focus must be one that is relevant. Content is not developed merely on the basis of what a person should know, but also includes what a person should be able to do. Career and technical curriculum content is typically based upon the actual worker's role with relevant tasks, knowledge, skills, attitude, and values serving as a foundation for what is to be taught. Great emphasis must be placed upon practicality. Now, next, that is student oriented. Most curricula are to some extent student oriented, and curricula in career and technical education are certainly no exception. Currently, there is a great deal of concern about how a curriculum can best meet students' needs. Various approaches such as team teaching and individualized instruction have been used by instructors to help meet these needs. But regardless of the approach an instructor uses, a basic question has to be answered. To what extent will the approach actually assist students in preparing for employment? Next, evaluation consists. Evaluation is perceived by many to be an activity that comes periodically in conjunction with accreditation procedures. Realistically, administrators and instructors cannot wait that long to find out how successful they have been. Curriculum evaluation has to be an ongoing activity, one that is planned and conducted in a systematic manner. As curriculum is being designed, plans must be made to assess its effects on students. Then, after the curriculum has been implemented and data have been gathered, school personnel may actually see what strengths and weaknesses exist. Although Most educators recognize that evaluation is not a simple activity. It is one that should be carried out concurrently with any curriculum effort. Now students next, which is future oriented. Educators, particularly career and technical educators, are very much concerned about the future. What technological changes might affect the need for graduates? What types of school laboratories will be needed 20 years from now? What sorts of continuing education will be needed by students who are in school right now? These and other questions are often raised by educators who think in futuristic terms. Persons responsible for the contemporary curriculum need to ensure that ongoing curricula are considered in relation to what will or may occur in the future. As decisions are being made about curriculum, content and structure, thought should be given to the future results that might come from those decisions. After discussing the various factors responsible for the development of curriculum, students, let us see what is the curriculum development process. The development of an effective curriculum guide is a multi-step, ongoing and cyclical process. The process progresses from evaluating the existing program to designing an improved program to implementing a new program and back to evaluating the revised program. Let us see what is the guide to curriculum development. Purposes, practices, procedures. Components of an effective curriculum development process are A. Planning, B. Articulating and developing, C. Implementing, and D. Evaluating. Students, let us discuss all these steps one by one. First of all, planning. In planning, the first step is convening a curriculum development committee. Such a committee consisting primarily of teachers who represent the various schools and grade levels in a district, administrators, members of the public, and perhaps students, becomes the driving force for curriculum change and the long-term process of implementing the curriculum. It is critical that an effective, knowledgeable, and respected chairperson leads such a committee, and it includes knowledgeable and committed members who gradually become the district's de facto experts during the development phase of the process as well as the implementation phases. Number second, identifying key issues and trends in the specific content area. Research allows a curriculum committee to identify key issues and trends that will support the needs assessment that should be conducted and the philosophy that should be developed. The key issues may be: number one, meeting the needs of all students. Second, learning theory and other cognitive psychology findings on how students learn. Third, what determines developmental readiness or developmental appropriateness. Fourth, the current expectations of the field. Fifth, the knowledge of and readiness for change on the part of teachers. Sixth, the availability of resources. Seventh, the role and availability of information and technology resources. Eighth, scheduling issues. Ninth, methods and purposes of assessing, and last, professional development. Then third, assessing need and issues. Curriculum development should be viewed as a process by which meeting students' needs leads to improvement of student learning. Regardless of the theory or model followed, curriculum developers should gather as much information as possible. This information should include the desired outcomes or expectations of a high-quality program, the role of assessment, the current status of students' achievement, and actual program content. The information should also consider the concerns and attitudes of teachers, administrators, parents, and students. By examining this data carefully, it may reveal key issues that should influence the curriculum design. For example, teachers may be dissatisfied with older content and techniques in the light of recent research. Then, test scores may be declining or lower than expected in some or all areas. After this, teachers may not have materials or may not know how to use materials to enhance understanding. Then, teachers may want to make far greater use of technology to enhance learning. And next, teachers and others may wish to relate the content of the program more closely to contemporary problems and issues. After planning, let us see what is articulating and developing. In this, we are having different phases. Number 1 is articulating a K-12 program philosophy. These fundamental questions guide the overarching philosophy of the program. Number 1, why learn? Means specific discipline. Second, upon what guiding principles is our program built? Third, what are our core beliefs about teaching and learning in specific discipline? Next, what are the essential questions? And then, how will we use assessment to improve the program and student learning? As such, the program philosophy provides a unifying framework that justifies and gives direction to discipline-based instruction. Second, defining K-12 program, grade level and course goals. The purpose of K-12 program philosophy is to describe the fundamental beliefs and inform the process of instruction. The curriculum guide delineates K-12 program goals as well as grade level and course goals that address the key cognitive and effective content expectations for the program. Third, developing and sequencing of grade level and course objectives. If the philosophy and goals of a curriculum represent the guiding principles of the curriculum, then the grade level and course objectives represent the core of the curriculum. The specific grade level and course objectives include clear expectations for what each learner is expected to know and be able to do and how it will be measured. The committee should consider several key questions to identify, select, write and sequence objectives. These are: is the objective measurable and how will it be measured? Then, is the objective sufficiently specific to give the reader a clear understanding of what the student should be able to do without being so detailed as to make the statement elaborate or the objective trivial? Is the objective compatible with the goals and philosophy of the program and the real and emerging needs of students? Then, is the objective realistic and attainable by students? Then, are appropriate materials and other resources available to make the objective achievable? After that, fourth, identifying resource materials to assist the program implementation. An effective curriculum guide goes beyond a listing of objectives and identifies suggested instructional resources to help answer the question: what instructional materials are available to help me meet a particular objective or set of objectives? As teachers and programs move away from a single textbook approach and employ a broad range of supplementary materials, instructional modules for particular units, computer software and the like, it is increasingly important that the curriculum guide suggests and links available resources to curriculum objectives. Then number fifth, developing and or identifying assessment items and instruments to measure students' progress. In many cases, a set of grade level criterion referenced tests, performance-based tasks and course final examinations that answer concretely the question: how will I know that my students know and are able to do what is expected of them, holds an entire curriculum together. This piece of the curriculum development process helps to focus instruction and ensures the often elusive but critical alignment of curriculum, instruction, and assessment. Essentially, the assessment piece of a curriculum is what drives curriculum. The assessments measure not only students' progress but also the effectiveness of the goal and objectives of the curriculum in meeting students' needs. Then C. Implementing. In implementing, we are following substages. Number 1, putting the new program into practice. Too often, traditional practice entails sending a committee away for several after-school meetings and 2 weeks of summer writing as prelude to a back-to-school unveiling and distribution of the updated or revised curriculum. The process envisioned here initiates a much more in-depth and systematic approach to both development and implementation. Instead of assuming that the process ends with the publication of a new guide, an effective curriculum committee continues to oversee the implementation, updating, and evaluation of the curriculum. Then D, that is evaluating. In it, we are having updating the new program. In this age of word processing and loose leaf bound curriculum guides, it is easier than ever to update the guides and keep them as living, changing documents. One of the most common methods of periodically updating a curriculum guide is through grade level meetings designed to share materials, activities, units, assessments, and even students' work that support the achievement of the curriculum goals that were unknown or unavailable when the guide was first developed. These approaches are invaluable professional development opportunities wherein teachers assume ownership of the curriculum they are responsible for implementing. In this way, the guide becomes a growing resource for more effective program implementation. Resource teachers are particularly effective vehicles for the preparation and distribution of these updates. Then second, determining the success of the new program. The curriculum development cycle ends and then begins again with a careful evaluation of the effectiveness and impact of the program. Using surveys, focused discussions, and meetings, a curriculum development committee needs to periodically gather data on perceptions of program strengths, weaknesses, needs, preferences for textbooks and other materials, and topics or objectives that do not seem to be working effectively. Dear students, this was all about today's lecture. Hope you have understood well.